Acteur et chanteur américain, Grabeel a commencé sa carrière en jouant dans les productions Disney ou encore dans la série à succès Véronica Mars. Et c'est en interprétant le rôle de Ryan Evans dans la comédie musicale que vous connaissez tous, High School Musical, aux côtés bien sûr de Zac Efron ou encore de Vanessa Hudgens, qu'il assoit son statut d'acteur international. Je suis plus que ravi de partager cette interview avec le talentueux Grabeel. Hi, Grabeel.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm very well. Very happy to be here.
First question, and
Okay.
always the same. Do you speak French?
Sadly, I do not.
Okay.
I know a few phrases, but I'm one of those Americans who only speaks English.
Okay. Which phrases in French?
Oh, you know, merci, merci beaucoup.
Thank you so much.
De rien.
You're welcome.
Bonjour.
Hello.
Enchanté.
Nice to meet you.
Was it bad? Was it off?
No, nice to meet you. C'est ravi de vous rencontrer.
Ah.
Ravi de vous rencontrer. Nice
Okay.
to meet you. So, Luca, right after high school, you moved to Los Angeles, and just a year later, you landed your role as Ryan Evans in High School Musical. How did it all happen so quickly?
I really don't know. I thank my lucky stars every day. It was actually about 2.5 years after I'd moved, but within 5 months of moving to Los Angeles, I actually booked my first Disney Channel original movie, Halloween Town High.
Yes.
After shooting that movie, I came home and I went back to work at Blockbuster Video, which is a old video rental place that is no longer a thing. I had a little lull, but in the grand scheme of things, it was practically no time at all. And I got so incredibly lucky. And I mean, I worked really hard
Yes.
before moving to Los Angeles. My childhood was full of performances and classes and doing as much training as I could to prepare myself for when opportunity, came upon me. But yeah, it was one of those crazy things that I pinch myself about it every day. I never imagined my life being this way, and I'm very grateful.
You began working young for Disney Productions. How did that have an impact on the rest of your acting career?
It's interesting. I feel like, especially with the fame thing that came with High School Musical, I was not prepared for that at all. And I had told myself many times, you're going to take years and years to slowly work your way up to getting to actually be in a movie, commercials and then little television parts, and then maybe getting on a television series, and then maybe getting on a small movie and a bigger movie and a bigger. It just didn't work that way. You sign up for a movie, you're very happy to do it. It feels special, with Kenny and the cast and everybody. We were like, this feels different, but we did not expect it to be this worldwide phenomenon. And I definitely was not prepared for that. And it was actually quite scary for me, honestly. I was not ready for that much attention. I didn't feel like I deserved it. And so it took me a couple of years and some different perspectives to kind of really understand what had happened. And, had it happened later in life, I would have had a different experience with it. But I'm very glad that it happened at the age that it did, because I got to live so much life in such a short amount of time and see things that so many people around the world don't ever get to see. And seeing it at that young age really made me grow up very quickly and really not take anything for granted and know how special this to be a part of this industry really is.
When an actor started an acting career for Disney Production, what are the pros and the cons?
Working with Disney?
Yes.
Well, the pros are childhood dreams coming true. I mean, I don't know a single child who doesn't know Disney. And I was a Disney kid. I was raised on watching all of those Disney animated classics and the live action movies, and of course, my dream was to one day work for them, and I'd never imagined that I would get to work with Disney so soon. So there's that intangible magic that comes with just that title of working with Disney, and the people there are, they keep the magic alive. There is something that Walt's legacy lives on through everyone carrying that torch and passing it on. The cons, I'd say, at the time, maybe this wasn't intrinsic to Disney, but as I said, I wasn't really prepared for what had happened, and Disney wasn't prepared either. And so we weren't really told how to give a good interview or to conduct ourselves in publicity and all of the external things that you go through. I didn't know any of the ancillary things that come with just being an actor. I'm from a very small town and I love performing. I want to be an entertainer. I moved to this big city. I get lucky to get booked into this movie, and I think, oh, the job is just to show up, know your lines, be on time, and perform, right? No, you have to do all of these other things, and that was we weren't very well prepared. But since then, Disney has really picked up the ball on that, and I know that for current and future projects, when new actors come to work for Disney, they sit them down and they teach them and they go through all of the things, and I feel like probably one of the reasons that they do that is because of how crazy High School Musical the experience was
learning
for us.
from the past.
Right.
You are also a producer, Luca. If you had to direct the sequel of High School Musical 4, which story and which plot would you like to develop?
Oh, that's a really good question. Well, I would definitely, I love, first of all, the High School Musical, the series, the way that they have taken the original story, the content, and made it a very today project, and IP is really, really creative and really cool. If I were to direct the next sequel, I would want to check in with everybody, and I'd want to see how their lives have changed since high school, because I think one of the great things about High School Musical was it took a lot of the classic things that happened to you in high school, and it put a magnifying glass on it and put colorful colors and intensified it, but it's still at the base, it's very an American high school experience. And a lot of kids go through a thing when they're in high school, everything, hormones are raging and everything is so intense and so dramatic, and you think what's going to happen after high school? Everything is just going to fall apart, and these are the best years of our lives. And obviously with maturity and perspective and change and age, you learn that there are so many other fruitful things in life, and to, like I said, check in with all of our characters and see where they ended up would be really interesting.
So you would work with all the same character, or you put aside?
No, I think it would be the story of the six of us, and well, the more than the six, but to see where everyone has, how their lives have ended up. What happens to the guy who was the basketball star and the musical theater star? What happens to the guy who went to Juilliard and, performed, and to Sharpay? Where did she go to? Does she have a fashion empire? Is she still performing? All of those questions.
And would you include new actors, maybe? And which ones?
I mean, of course. Who else to play them? It would be. I think that's the only right way to do a real sequel, is that you would have everyone come back.
Which actors of High School Musical are you still in contact with?
All of them.
All of them?
Yeah. The thing is like we went through something so special together that even though if we had just met on the street, we may have not all been friends. We're very different, all six of us. But there's something that just happens. Like, we're all family, you know, because we went through this crazy thing together, and no one else but us knows what that feels like and felt like. So anytime anyone from High School Musical time texts me or calls me or whatever, you know, I'm always there. It's like, you know, it's my brother or my sister calling me. So, yeah.
Joshua Basset, who played in the series for Disney+, the franchise, confided with emotions that he was sexually abused as a teenager. Did you know that, and what was your reaction when you heard about it?
I'm hearing it for the first time right now. Geez. I mean, it's terribly sad to hear about that. I mean, it just, you wouldn't wish that upon anyone, and that's awful. I'm pleased to hear that he is talking about it. I hope that gives him some relief and some solace, knowing that he can share his story and maybe help other people who are going through the same thing. But that's just terrible.
He had to deal with offensive comments like, "Men cannot be raped. If you are a man who claims to have been raped, go put on a dress." How do you prevent yourself from hate on social media?
You can't. The sad fact about our society, no matter where you go in this world, there's always hate. But there's always love too. And I feel like if you can focus on the love, then, you know, you're better off. Of course, we all have to hear hate. We all feel it. We all hear, you know, experience it. And we all experience pain and suffering. But it's what we do with that pain and that hate and suffering that makes us who we are. And without the bad times, we wouldn't appreciate the good. And without the hate, we wouldn't appreciate the love. So it's one of those sad facts about humanity, that there are bad people out there. And there's always, social media has allowed people to have a veil behind which they can throw all sorts of negativity and baseless claims at people without having to be held responsible for it. And I'm not a fan of social media for that reason, because it's hard to filter out all of that stuff, and you never can completely.
Luca, according to you, was it audacious or not assumed enough to star a potentially gay character in High School Musical for the time?
It's amazing how quick society can change. And as part of me does feel that High School Musical happened eons ago, I also feel that it happened yesterday. And it's strange to me that at that time, the world or society or Disney or network television or cable television, excuse me, was not ready to have openly gay characters on television. But at the same time, when I first read the script, when I was first cast, and when I first started talking to Kenny about it, we had many discussions over it, because my first thought was, Kenny, so reading through this, Ryan, I mean, are we allowed to say that he's
You
gay?
understood?
Oh, of course. And he's like, look, you know, what's the smarter choice here? Coming out and being flamboyant and being a caricature of someone that has been portrayed in that way so many times before, especially on television? Or do we have an opportunity here to tell a story about so many kids going through high school where they're confused, where they don't know exactly who they are yet, and they're trying to find that out? And that was the best gift that an actor could ever be given in that setting. I was like, okay, this is an opportunity for color and for range and for layers and for an ability to connect with people who are going through that same thing in high school right now. I knew so many kids in high school who, you know, I didn't label them. They couldn't label themselves, but they were searching and they didn't know yet. And that to me is who Ryan is. Yes, of course, now looking back, you can say, well, yeah, I mean, we all assume that Ryan eventually came out of the closet and was a homosexual, but who's to say that he didn't? You know, like it's the ambiguity about it is the special part of it, and that's the part of playing him that I I just absolutely loved.
And has the ambiguity of your character perceived by the public created ambiguities concerning your own life?
Oh, of course.
Maybe.
Of course.
How did you experience it?
Speaking of social media, I mean, when High School Musical came out, there was no Instagram or Twitter or any of that. But IMDb message boards were a thing. And yeah, tons of stuff. Oh, he's gay, or oh, no, he's not, or blah, blah, blah. And, you know, it was a great lesson to learn that early on, as I said earlier, that you know, you can choose to listen to all of the chatter, or you can learn to block it out, or you can accept it, or you can reject it. It's up to you, but it's going to be there. So you have to find some way of accepting it. And I've always been very secure in my own sexuality, but I also, I grew up doing musical theater. Like, I was raised around people of all colors and shapes and sizes, and so, and sexual orientations. So I was, obviously I have nothing against any of that. I celebrate it, I love it. But yeah, so it was never offensive to me, but it was like, why are these people spending their time worrying about my personal life when all I want to do is entertain people? Watch the movie. If you like it, great. If you don't, who cares? You know, that's all that matters.
And why do you think gay characters' role should be played by actors who are gay?
You know, this is an interesting question. When I think it was last year that Kenny Ortega did a Vanity Fair interview where he was like, yeah, guys, Ryan was gay. Big deal. Who cares? We all knew it. And other people started asking me this question. And look, I never want to take, I understand I'm a white, straight man. I have grown up in privilege. I mean, I wasn't raised with a lot of money. I grew up in a small town, but still, I have so much more privilege than most people on this planet. And I recognize that, and I would never want to take a job away from anybody else, because I know I already have, just because of the way I look. So I asked a lot of my gay friends, like, hey, so I want to play all of the characters. I love the gay characters that I've played. I was in Milk, and Veronica Mars, and in High School Musical. And it's something that I do well. And I love doing that, but at the same time, I don't want to take that away from anybody else. So it's a conversation I want to have with other people, and if enough people tell me, yeah, dude, that's over, you can't do that anymore, then I'm fine with it. No big deal. But if you were to ask me to play Ryan again, I would love to play that. If you asked me to play another gay character again, I would love to do it, you know. So
because this is maybe the DNA of an actor, to slip into
and honestly, like, I'm, you know, sexual orientation aside, like, I'm not gay, but I'm a very feminine man. Like, I have my masculine side and my feminine side, and I'm very in touch with my feminine side. As everybody,
of course. This is named yin and yang.
Right, and we're all on the spectrum. And the spectrum is full of different colors, and we're all different places on it. So, you know, but at the same time, I am at the will of people who have been stripped of their opportunities because of their sexual orientation, and I don't ever want to be a part of that.
Understood. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Luca, for this interview. On peut te suivre sur tes réseaux sociaux. Ton compte Instagram, c'est Mr. Grabeel. M.R. Grabeel, et ton compte Twitter, c'est Monsieur Grabeel également. Thank you so much. Merci à vous, on se retrouve très prochainement avec une nouvelle personnalité et toujours des confidences en toute intimité et en anglais. À bientôt.